Uh, but we're moving on. We're moving on because this past Saturday night, the Royal Rumble emanated live from St. Petersburg in Florida, I believe. And it was an eventful one to say the least. So I wanted to know, what were some of your impressions on this year's Royal Rumble?
Well, I was very lit when I watched it. So the parts that I mainly remember was the rumbles. And I remember most of it. And I remember having a great time. Cause last year I was bored. I was bored as shit, and I was so mad. I was so mad. I was so disappointed. Um, at that point, I done lost my favorite girl, Sasha Banks, and while she did not come back for this Royal Rumble, I can't even say that I was disappointed by the performance that we got, the surprises that we got, and the winners that we got. Um, I want to respectfully say that probably was the best women's Royal Rumble out of all of them that I seen, and that was really hard to top because Bianca Belair won one of the Royal Rumbles, and y'all know how she's my favorite, so I had that way up there. Um, and the one before that was also way up there for me from 2020, I think that was. So 2020 and 2021 were probably my favorite women Royal Rumbles. I'm gonna arguably say that this one's my new favorite women's Royal Rumble. Um, and I just love the fact that the highlight was a focus on black women. We got Trinity back, Naomi, and she put on one hell of a performance. I was super excited to see her back. Of course, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, all right, we got Naomi. Is Sasha gonna be number 30? Like, that'd be a treat. Are we gonna get AJ Lee? I did not get either or. Um, and I wanted to be disappointed, but I couldn't. Um, the part that really just got me the most was being able to see Jay Cargill. I can't say her name. Jay Cargill debut. She looked phenomenal, by the way. She looked like a star, and I got the stare down that we all been looking for. And it was her versus Bianca, and my heart just kind of like skipped a beat for a moment when I got that frame of them holding Liv and Becky in the air, dropping them on the ground, and it's like, yo, this is business. This is business between me and you. And like for a second, I wanted to see them go, and then of course, in WWE faction, they kind of like had the interference just to cock tease us, and we got to see Jay perform. I thought she kept up very, very well for someone who we haven't seen wrestle in many months since she's left AEW. Um, it was just fun. The whole entire thing was fun. The pacing was fun. I didn't see any like stupid spots outside of maybe what they were trying to pull with what was her name? Was it Casey? There was somebody who was trying to pull a Naomi spot. Every single year Naomi does something really tricky for the camera lenses, and I think they try to replicate it with somebody else. And I think they botched the spot. I think it was it Kyrie. Was it Kyrie? I can't hear you.
My mic was muted.
Yeah.
Kyrie, when she was on like the board, like the board at
Yes.
the, yeah. I remember that. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was the
yeah.
only botch I think I saw, and it looked like Oscar and her were having to talk on the end. That was kind of funny for me to watch. But she tried. She tried. Not everyone could be Naomi. Like Naomi has done
Right.
it all. Like all. I thought the women's was so fun. I really enjoyed it. I love the takeaway for it, and I'm not mad at the winner. Um, and then for the men's, we were all hoping and praying that it probably was going to be CM Punk. We did not expect a duplicate winner, but the way they played it out with Cody, I also couldn't been mad at it because, I mean, we've been telling Homeboy to finish the story, and
Mm-hmm.
especially knowing the news that we know about the person we wanted to win, it kind of worked out.
Right.
That
Literally.
that would have blown if he actually did win and
Win.
then found out you're injured. Because like, what do you even do in that situation? So they ironically made the right call. It was fun. It was like a heroic win for Cody. Made me excited for WrestleMania. And that's what the Royal Rumble is supposed to do. It's supposed to be the pay per view that just jumps off the whole entire year. And I just love like I feel like WWE has been consistently doing very, very well. Like it
Yes.
feels nice to feel excited to be a fan again. It's actually a little bit nice to be wrong sometimes for some of the outcomes because you're not supposed to know who's actually going to win the Rumble. It's supposed to feel like it could go to maybe at least 5 people,
Yeah.
like it did back in the day. and Cody was on the list. And the way they executed it, that was phenomenal. I really enjoyed myself. Definitely got to rewatch the pay per view again. I think. Oh yeah, the other part I like was the stare down between Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. That shit was fun as fuck. I love that match. Anyways, I think it was great. Honestly, I want to rate it like a 9 out of 10, maybe
Mm.
9.5 out of 10.
Ooh, 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's
I
that's
thought it
good.
was super fun. What do you rate it, and what are your takes from the Rumble? Any
I
highlights?
so I was able to watch it again, and I would probably be on par and say that it was a 9.5 out of 10. Um, where do I start? So I think I could start with the women's Royal Rumble. Um, Obviously the Jade Bianca interaction was fantastic.
Yep.
I love the sequence in which Jade debuted though, because Nia Jax had been dominating the entire Rumble, eliminating person after person, brutalizing person after person. That pre-workout is kicking in. And brutalizing person after person, throwing people out the ring, and then you see Jade come and effortlessly lift Nia Jax up and then eliminate Becky and eliminate Naomi. Speaking of Naomi, I was really, really glad to see her back. Obviously, she was someone who was rumored to return. She was previously in TNA. She worked her last match not too long ago against Jordan Grace for the TNA Knockouts champion. And speaking of Jordan Grace, she
Crimson Foot.
also made an appearance at the Royal Rumble, making her the second TNA Knockouts champion to be a Royal Rumble entrant. The first, obviously, was Mickey James, which I also thought was a really, really cool moment. The fact that WWE is doing things like this and including TNA, I think it shows that they are more willing to uh, do business with other big wrestling corporations, and seeing kind of the trajectory of TNA, and seeing that TNA Knockouts belt on TV, I think was also just a really, really cool moment. And then obviously when Naomi and Jordan were in the ring, they were able to kind of reference their TNA rivalry, which was literally a couple weeks ago. So I thought that that was just really, really cool and interesting to see on a WWE product. And, you know, obviously the last, I think I would say 10 to 15 minutes of the Women's Royal Rumble was obviously like the highlight of the night. As I mentioned before, with Bianca and Jade's kind of standoff, that was great. Also, seeing Tiffany Stratton having the performance that she had, because she did great in the Rumble.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't think that a lot of people talked about it, because I think so many people were focused on Jade's debut that they weren't focused on everybody else. Um, I think Tiffany did her thing. And I'm super glad that Bailey won. I don't think we're talking about that enough. I feel like her being, I think she was in there for 63 minutes, meaning she's been in there longer than anyone ever in a women's Royal Rumble. So the fact that she was kind of the Iron Woman and the winner of the Royal Rumble, I think it's just a really cool accolade to add to her very, very storied career. And now I think it's safe to say that we're going to see her and Io at Mania, which I think is going to be very, very interesting in regards to the damage control story. So I'm very, very eager to see that. The Fatal Four Way for the WWE title, I thought was very, very entertaining. I thought that they booked it perfectly. Um, and I think it kind of set the stage, right? I feel like it was able to tell multiple stories at once. I think we're going to get AJ and LA Knight potentially at Mania or Elimination Chamber. I think we're going to get Solo versus Randy Orton at Mania. I also believe that we're going to get Roman versus Cody potentially, but I think that the foundation of that was laid in that match, especially when AJ took the pin. And considering that LA Knight had been like, hey, I'm due for a world title shot, a WWE title shot, and I'm not getting it because AJ's in the way. So I think this just kind of adds to that feud. The U.S. Championship match was also pretty entertaining. I love the way that KO beat on Logan after the match. It reminded me of when he was a heel. And I think that that's the type
Yeah,
of
that
Kevin Owens
was.
that we really, really miss. And I'm glad to see that element of his character back. And then obviously the men's Royal Rumble, I thought was pretty, pretty cool. Seeing like Carmelo Hayes there and stuff like that was pretty, pretty dope. Um, at the end, when it was just Cody, Drew, and Punk, and Punk got injured, somebody on Twitter, I don't know if this is true or not, said that it looked like he not only told the ref that he was injured, it looked like he was signaling for Cody to win as opposed to Punk, as opposed to himself. And if Punk did that, I think that that's very, very commendable of him, because he could have easily one, not even acknowledge his injury and just want it and then be like, oh, I think something's wrong. But he used
Hmm.
that moment to be like, hey, Cody needs to win. I'm injured. I can't do this. Um, so I think that that was really, really cool. And we'll talk a little bit more about Punk's injury. But overall, I just think it was a very, very interesting show. And I think it was a great way to kind of lay the foundation of what we are looking for in WrestleMania 40. Um, but I mean, while we're on this topic of Punk, I think it's safe to segue into our next segment.